Let's see. Hi guys, thanks for tapping in to Jackie with a Q. How's everybody doing today? Hope everybody's day is great and full of rainbows and sunshine, even though amongst all of the stuff we got going on in the world, you know, we still have to find our happy place, right? So make sure, before I get started, make sure you drop down and like, share, subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications, right? Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like and share with your friends, okay? But anyway, today I'm going to be speaking about my transition to Charlotte. So in case you don't know, I am from Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. I briefly lived in Cincinnati in the 90s. So I've basically been living in Ohio, okay? So I have been wanting to be in the Carolinas, maybe about 25 years, right? But I never really took action on it. You know, I was raising my kids and I was in a long relationship, bought a home, just living life, right? Well, it dawned on me one day that I just wasn't totally happy. Now, let me tell you guys something. You are the designer of your destiny, okay? You, right? We all have choices and decisions to make. And I believe wholeheartedly, if you're not happy, change it. It's your life. You only get one, right? So, with careful consideration, maybe about 3 years ago, came up with a plan to relocate, right? Now, let me say this to you. Relocation is if you plan on taking your life with you, it's hard. Like if you just go and say, I'm going and leave everything, that's easy to do, right? But I was taking my life with me, right? And I have a life in Cleveland that I needed to get those affairs together. I own my home. Somebody have to be in my house, right? I needed to understand where I wanted to be. So I did a lot of research for maybe about a year and a half, right? I researched South Carolina because I wanted to go to South Carolina first. And then I researched North Carolina, cities within, Raleigh, Durham. I did a lot of research. When I tell you a lot of research, I did a lot of research because I live in an urban neighborhood now, right? Well, not now, but in Cleveland, right? I refuse to go all the way to another state and live in the hood. That's what I wasn't going to do, right? So I said, okay, I need to find somewhere that I can afford and it not be as urban as where I'm leaving from, right? Now, let me tell you guys something. Cleveland is a whole different animal than most cities. And most people don't know that. Most people don't realize that, right? As I move around the country and visit other cities and go to different places, I realize that Cleveland is really behind, really, behind the eight ball on a lot of things. And it makes me wonder, is it done purposely, right? Is this done by design by someone, the powers that be? Because I've been to smaller cities, I've been to bigger cities. And there's a lot of commerce in all of these cities, right? Now, what I mean by that is, like where I'm at now, I don't have to drive no longer than 10, 12 minutes to get anywhere I want, anything that I want, right? And I live in a city, that's right off of Charlotte, right? So this is not even considered a very big city. It's a community, right? Now then, I've been to other cities, that were smaller. I've been to other cities that are bigger. And there's plenty of stores, plenty of shopping, plenty of everything you want around the corner, this way, that way, straight ahead, back behind you, right? Don't understand why Cleveland is not like that. It's full of urban despair, right? So, besides the weather, skies are gloomy. The weather is, let's see, 6 or 7, I want to say really 7 months out the year. The weather is not good, right? The skies are gray. I need sunshine. I'm a happy, high energy, bubbly kind of gal, right? I need sunshine. Didn't realize it till a couple of years ago. And I was telling my mother that I get depressed. Now, I would get depressed for no reason. Like, I got food, I got shelter, I got a car, I might have 2 cars, right? I got everything I need. I'm still unhappy, right? Couldn't figure that out. But I know that I like sunshine, right? Well, my mother told me that I was suffering from what they call seasonal, I think it's seasonal affective disorder or something like that. Well, anyway, I Googled it and it's a thing. Who knew? It's a thing. So right then I said, I can't be here. If I want to live my best life and be as happy as I want to be, as I can be, as I should be, as I'm supposed to be, I'm going to have to leave here, right? Now, mind you, my whole family is in Cleveland, all of my friends. And I have a lot of good friends, a lot of associates. I know a lot of folks. There's nowhere I can't go and somebody going to be like, hey, Jackie, right? It wasn't the people, it was the energy, it was the space, it was what's going on around me. Now then, besides the weather and the gloomy skies, Cleveland has become very violent. That's a little secret that they're keeping hidden. Unless you live in Cleveland, you don't know this, right? Because they talk about Chicago and all that, and I think that's because Chicago is a much bigger city. But if you weigh it up, Cleveland is smaller, it's the same amount of crime. Cleveland is horrible, absolutely horrible. It's like living in a war zone, right? Now, all that family ties and your neighbors and being neighborly. And what I have found is that people are just not happy. They're more aggressive. People, everybody mean mugging, can't look at this person, can't look at that person. I don't want to live like that, right? I don't want to live like that. So, like I said, after doing plenty of research, then I started traveling to these cities, and I would go by myself. Why? Because I was super single, right? I would go by myself, and the first place I went to was Columbia. Now, I liked Columbia. The weathers are slightly different, too. That's South Carolina. I'm in North Carolina. Weather is slightly different. It's a tad bit warmer in South Carolina, right? I liked it, but it was just a little too country for me. Now, I am a city girl. I need lights and all the stuff, right? It was just a little too country for me, right? So I went back to the drawing board. And so then I started thinking about, well, maybe Raleigh or Durham or somewhere up there. Because I knew I didn't want to be on the coast, like Wilmington or Charleston. I didn't want to be by the water because a lot of stuff happened to bad weather, right? I didn't want to do that, or floods or whatever. So I was thinking about Raleigh because it's more at the top, right? Durham. I think they call it the Tri-City or Tri-State. I don't know, something like that. Well, anyway, I did some research on that, and it was looking pretty good. Well, when number 45 was campaigning, something happened. And racism is all over, as we can now see. It's been all over, but now it's just all out in the open. But something happened. I can't remember what it was. And I said, no, maybe I don't want to go there. So I went back to the drawing board again, doing my research. Now, this took me months, because I was working. This was over a long span of time, right? A couple of years. And then I decided on Charlotte. So once I decided on Charlotte, okay, then I said, okay, I have cousins that live in Atlanta. I said, well, this is 3 hours away. How long is it going to take me to get from Charlotte to Cleveland? Because I almost thought about going to Houston because I have a cousin that just moved there, right? But Houston was just a little too far. Houston is, they drive too fast in Houston. I don't know what they're going so fast for, right? And then the highways are up in the air. That's a little scary. That's like being at an amusement park all day. A little scary, right? So, I decided on Charlotte, right? And so for the last 2 years, prior to January, I would come periodically, maybe twice a year, right? Just to check the energy, look at houses, look at apartments, trying to see where I wanted to live. Now that's a big feat when you don't know nothing, right? All you can go by is the internet or what you see. Because, sometimes stuff look good in the day, at night it goes down, right? We all know that, right? But I wanted to live in a very safe, affordable area, right? So, again, I, did my research and I would come down and I would stay at least 4 days. I would always give myself 4 days, right? And, when I put it in my mind, okay, this is it. And now I have to decide, when am I leaving, right? So what I did in the midst of all that, my daughter had twin girls, right? And so of course she need help, right? And so I said, okay, this might be the opportune time, right? She can come into my home because at first I didn't have anybody to be in my house, and I really didn't want to rent it out. I didn't want to rent it out. I just didn't want to rent it out. I didn't want to be bothered with that. It was going to be hard enough trying to establish myself in a whole new city and atmosphere, right? Then to be worried about somebody in my house and what they doing, blah blah blah, right? So I wanted a family member in my house. Now at the time when I initially announced that I was moving, my kids didn't want it. I have 3. Nobody wanted it, right? Everybody was doing their thing. Okay. So at any rate, it worked out. Now let me tell you the disparaging part of moving or relocating. You can never tell your dreams. You have to be careful who you tell your dreams and aspirations to, right? And I told a few family members, and I told a couple of girlfriends, and I didn't get the result that I thought I would get, right? If somebody tell me I'm not a dream killer, right? If you tell me right now, Jackie, I'm about to go to the moon, I'm going to say, God damn it, call me when you get back. You know what I'm saying? Let me know you got there. You know what I mean? I don't care how weird and strange it sounds, because for one, I am very unorthodox. I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, right? And like I said before, sometimes it works for me, sometimes it don't. But I have to be me. I have to be totally me, right? Another reason why I'm single, because you have to accept me for who I am, right? And I'm a free spirit. So I don't want to feel trapped or caged, right? It doesn't work for me. Makes me act out. But anyway, I didn't get the result. Listen, nobody says, there's no rule book that says you have to stay in the city that you were born in. Nobody says that. There's no rule to that, right? And I believe there's a whole big world out there. We should experience it, right? And I'm not going to stay. And I kind of wish, but everything is in God's time. I wish that I had moved 20 years ago. When I left Cincinnati, I think in 2000, 2001. I should have went south. I shouldn't have came back home. But let me tell you what happened. I was a little homesick, and my kids were still small, and they needed to know their other side of the family. And there were 2 situations that happened in Cincinnati that made me say I want to go be back home with my family. One was 9/11, and the other was, actually there were 3 situations. They had started killing. What they're doing now, they had started doing in Cincinnati. They were killing black men, right? And the last one that I can remember that they killed him, and they shot him in the back and killed him. He was running away, right? And the city rioted, right? And they didn't do like we just had, but they rioted, right? And they didn't hit black businesses, right? So when that happened, they put us on curfew. So we had to be in our house by 8 o'clock. Not outside, not on the porch, not in the backyard, in the house. In the summer. It was summer too, right? And at that time I was drinking, having a good time. I'm used to kicking it, doing what I want to do. And we had to be in the house, right? So that happened. The National Guard came down there. It might have been like 3 or 4 days. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But when that lifted, right? And then 9/11 had just happened. It was happened right after that. When that lifted, and the way I was feeling, I was like, I'm going home now. Me, my brother, and my sister were there, right? But I got ready to leave. And when I told my siblings I was leaving, my brother left with me, right? So, we got the longest U-Haul you can get, and I threw stuff in. I left stuff. I left a whole house. I used to do that. That's why this time when I moved to Charlotte, I said, I'm going to take my time and do it right, because I don't have time to keep starting over. I'm the start over queen, right? So I left a whole house of stuff, right? I left the door open. Y'all have at the TVs, furniture, get it, right? So I left stuff. But that's how bad I wanted to go. I've always been the type, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. And 9 times out of 10, I'm going to do it right now. It was very hard for me to not just be impulsive and come down to Charlotte and leave all my belongings. That was it was very difficult because I wanted to do that a lot, right? I wanted to just say fuck this and go, right? But I knew I had to do it decent and in order, you know. That's just the way it had to be, right? So, you know, like I said, my friends didn't understand. What you gonna do down there? What you gonna do down there? Why you going over there? You gonna do the same shit I'm doing there? You know, ain't nothing really happening. I just want to change my energy. I want to change my atmosphere, right? I'm going to do the same stuff I do. Go to work, go to church, talk on the phone, kick it a little bit. I'm going to do the same shit, right? Now, Corona came as soon as I got here. I got here in January. Corona came in March. But even with that, I'm still happy. I'm still happy, right? I'm in the house, but I'm happy, right? You know, so this transition was... it was difficult, right? It was difficult because I had to move in silence, you know, because once I realized my friends didn't understand what I was doing, and I got a little bit of pushback, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to do this. I got to do this with me and God, which who I usually do stuff with, right? So I moved in silence. Now my coworkers did know, and I worked very hard, right? There was So what I did, you know, like I said, my daughter was coming, and this was my preparation to get my mind right. You know, whatever you do in life, your mindset have to be together before you do it, right? If not, you may fail, you may get tired. You know, you have to focus and get your mind right, right? That's why I'm so glad today that I stopped drinking and everything years ago, because you need your mind when you're doing making life altering changes. You need to have your mind right, right? And I was doing this alone by myself. You know what I'm saying? So it's a fly or something in here, and he's getting on my nerves. But anyway, so you know, I had to get my mindset right, right? So what I did was I went to stay with my younger son. He lived near Dayton. I went to stay with him for 90 days. Now, let me tell you guys something. You know, I like to drop little nuggets, right? In 90 days, you can do anything. 90 days is a magic number. In 90 days, you can do anything if you put your mind to it, right? So I went to stay with him for 90 days. Didn't know at the time when I went how long I was going to stay, but I knew God would reveal when it was time to go. So I went to stay with him. He had an extra room, and he was like, "Ma, you ain't got to pay no bills. You ain't got to do nothing. Just get you together." So that is what I did. Now then, when I was ready, I knew I had to put my foot to the gas, right? Because I'm ready to go. I'm ready to leave. You know, it had become so overwhelming for me that I didn't want to be in Cleveland at all. Not at all, right? So, you know, I had to, for 6 months, I think I came back. I went to his house maybe in March, April, came back June or July it was. And I worked extremely hard. And at the time, my job was offering overtime. So I worked 12, 13, 14 hours a day, right? And I worked in the evenings. I got off at 11. And I would go to work 10, 11, 9, some day, you know, whatever. When I woke up, I'd get up, right? And because I knew it was going to cost me a lot of money to move, and I knew that I'm going to have to pay rent and deposit. Now, let me tell you guys something. My house is paid for. So besides transitioning to a whole different location, I got to get my mind prepared to pay somebody rent, right? By myself, okay? So that was hard. You know what I mean? No, I take that back. It wasn't hard. I just had to prepare myself for that. I had to prepare myself mentally for a lot of things. I had to prepare myself for the transition to relocate. I had to prepare myself to know, okay, you're going to be here with yourself, right? Now, unbeknownst to me, I had a girlfriend here. One of my friends from Cincinnati. She'd been here 2 or 3 years, right? Didn't know that till I got here. And so that was helpful. Since the pandemic, she didn't move back to Cincinnati, right? You know, I had a girlfriend here. So it worked out, you know, but relocating is stress. It can be a little stressful. So doing that, I worked, like I said, I worked a lot of hours for 6 months. I worked so much, I made myself sick, right? And then they stopped the overtime, but it was like December, but I had already been working so much, so much, so much, right? And I got sick like in October. The doctor said I had bronchitis. Now, I don't smoke. I don't know how I got that, right? And I'm thinking now, maybe I had COVID, pre-COVID, because I didn't. So that was October, and I went and got the antibiotic. I got a flu shot and a pneumonia shot. November, December, I was so sick. I missed one day of work because I just needed to rest, but I was so sick every day, and I coughed every day. I would have bouts of coughing at night. It was horrible, right? So I did all that. I had a pods. They brought the pods, like, I want to say in December, right? And I had a month. Now, prior to that, the day after Thanksgiving, I had came down, signed the papers for my job, paid my deposit for my place, and I went back home. Now it's time to pack and do all this stuff, right? Now, I've been living in this house for about 12 years. A lot of stuff has accumulated, right? So I had to determine what I was taking and what I wasn't going to take, right? And I had to do all this by myself. You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot. It was a lot. But that's how determined I was to be here. And I'm happy that I did that. I'm very happy that I did that, right? I'll go into more details the next time we talk about this. Because I think my next video, I'm going to talk about Black Lives Matter. There's so much stuff going on. It's so much stuff going on in the world. I have to talk about it, right? I have to talk about it. It's so much going on in the world, right? But I just want to give you guys just a little snippet of what it took for me to get here, right? And I'll go into details the next time I talk about it, right? Because it was hard, right? But I did it. I pushed through and I did it. And I'm proud and I'm happy, right? So, again, guys, thanks for listening to me. Thanks for watching. I'm going to, like I said, go into details the next video or so about my transition. I'm going to talk about it maybe 2 or 3 more times because it is a lot. But, I advise anybody, if you're not happy in your situation, change it. Change it. It's your life. You only get one, right? So, again, guys, thanks for tapping in. Thanks for watching Jackie with a Q. You guys have a great day. Remember to wear your mask, wear your gloves, stay safe, and that Black Lives Matter, okay? My next video, we're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter, all right, guys? So just remember that, guys. Stay safe. All right, stay safe, and, thanks for watching, okay? Bye-bye.